While we wait for the first international LAN event in Hangzhou, China to get underway later in April, some teams and players have started to make their moves as they await Stage 2. And of those moves, quite a few of them have involved partner teams, and the biggest one that we've got to start off with in the news is Viol2t declaring that he is looking for a new team. The era of him and Zeta Division seems to be coming to a close, and obviously this is pretty significant and kind of surprising as well. Surprising in the sense that Zeta have consistently been one of the best teams on the planet over the last 2 seasons. They've gotten so close so many times to making it to a LAN. They've been right there as rivals for Falcons and Crazy Raccoon, but they just haven't gotten over that last hurdle just yet. But this seems to be where Viol2t is drawing that line in the sand, if you will. And regardless of the reasoning behind it, whether it's him, whether it's the team, whether it's a mutual thing, this is pretty big. Viol2t, whether you think he's a meme or not, is one of the best support players on the planet. And in my opinion, him and Finn were playing some of their best Overwatch in quite a long time. Definitely better compared to last season. They were holding their own for the most part. So it's going to be very weird for both parties involved here. Viol2t having the opportunity to go off elsewhere, while Zeta Division look for a way to replace this long-time goated player, one of the best players to ever touch the game. I don't know how they're going to recover. What main support options out there come anywhere close to Viol2t's resume, to his skill set? It's going to be a very difficult task for Zeta Division to replace a player like this, and I'd love to know where their heads are at. There's not exactly a lot of free agents out there that are super appealing options, and what other choices do they really have? Will they try and poach a main support player from another decent team from OWCS Korea Stage 1? I don't even know if that is really all that appealing. Maybe you go for Lee Soo-min, who had a bit of an uptick in his level of play compared to previous iterations of himself. Maybe you go for Opener, who we'll talk about a bit later, who is off of T1 now. Not exactly the most promising option either. You could just stick with trying to have one of your DPS play main support, but obviously that doesn't seem like the greatest idea either. Zeta right now are in quite the pickle, and I'm not sure how they get out of it. Viol2t just seems like the best possible option at the moment. The most appealing main support players are locked into teams, and they're not going anywhere. From like a pure talent perspective, I don't see how there's any way Zeta Division can get better from a guy like Viol2t leaving their team. Right now, it feels like the gap is opening up even more than it ever has before when comparing them to their big rivals, that being Falcons and Crazy Raccoon. This seemed like it was their best opportunity. Stage 1 was their last hurrah, and they failed, and now things feel like they're starting to go on the downward trend for this team, and I'll be interested to see how they can possibly bounce back heading into Stage 2. Viol2t brought the skill set and the leadership, so now they've got to press on without something like that. On Viol2t's end, I'm also a little worried for him. Just like with Zeta, I don't know if this is truly going to be beneficial for his career in terms of winning. It feels like it mutually sucks for both sides. Now, Viol2t will have his choices. I think a lot of teams will be interested. And a team like T1 could be right up his alley if he's continuing to play main support, just because they don't really have a true main support right now. They released Opener. They did pick up Vigilante in return, but it's hard to see him being a full-time main support option on the team. So Viol2t, this may be his best choice. T1 aren't a bad team at all. They could really use his help. They could use an experienced vet like him to elevate their level of play, and he still gets to be on a partner team. Maybe he could also consider Wei. If they were to lose Lee Soo-min or Maka for whatever reason, he could be plugged in, and if this team remains how they are, they could be pretty solid. As we all know, they made top 4 in surprising fashion. They got in over T1 in the Asia tournament, and they showed some promise, and I think having an upgrade at the support position could do them some good. Or maybe we go with Plan C, where Viol2t ends up making a new squad in Stage 2 with some of their remaining free agents out there, some of the best possible players. I know there's been rumblings and rumors that maybe Merit and someone are headed over to Falcons, but what if instead they decide to make their own team? They finally are stopping with their break. They come out, they go out there, and they team up with Viol2t to make a pretty sick trio. maybe they can get a couple of other marquee players, and suddenly there could be another big-time team in the mix in Korea that could significantly shake things up and add some more competition. Viol2t should be a lot of fun over the next couple of months, and I'm sure the speculation is going to go absolutely crazy. Now for the next segment, might as well go over it a bit more in detail just because I already brought it up, but T1 did make some changes to their roster, deciding to get rid of Opener after Stage 1 and replace him with Vigilante. Now again, it's unclear if they intend to add any other supports to the roster. That would probably make the most sense. That'd be the most logical thing to do, considering that neither of the guys on their team are really known for their main support play. Maybe they could try Vigilante there and it works out. Maybe they can get away with some of the double flex support setups. We've seen a lot of Korean teams be successful with that. Maybe T1 could do the same. But regardless, they knew they needed to make some changes after a very disappointing Stage 1, where they showed only some average play with some decent peaks and then failing to make the Asia tournament. They didn't even make it to the next part of this thing, which is a huge letdown because they are a partner team with a lot of talent. And if I'm being 100% honest, Opener did feel pretty underwhelming at times on this team, one of the weaker performers on a consistent basis. He needed to be replaced, but I'm not sure if what they're doing is enough. I'd like to see them make another move. Again, ideally, I'd love to see them bring in Viol2t to play main support, or poach some other player from Stage 1, or get a free agent, but right now I'm getting the vibes they may not do that. They may go the Wei approach, where Makan Lee Soo-min, not known for main support, try it anyway, and it ends up working out. Maybe they try their luck with Vigilante in that scenario, or maybe they convert Skewed, I'm not so sure, and they just pray that it works in their favor. It seems a little risky, but desperate times call for desperate measures when you're being a disappointing team that maybe doesn't have that many other options out there. For their sake, I hope it works out because this does not move the needle, and I'm still left feeling pretty underwhelmed about a team that I have very high hopes for. Anyway, that does it for the news on the front of Korea and some of the partner teams. So now I want to move into the other big piece of news that happened in the world of partner teams. Going over to EMEA, Gen.G have decided to move on from Sauna. He moves into the free agent pool, and in return, they are picking up Xzodyal, who leaves Team Peps to have a big-time change of scenery, to finally get his opportunity to play on a partner team after playing extremely well over the last season and a half. I thought this was a necessary move for Gen.G. It comes with some risk because Xzodyal is a very young player with a lot of inexperience, and going from Peps to a partner team like this adds a lot of pressure onto him, and I'll be curious to see how he handles it. But at the end of the day, Gen.G couldn't keep things how they were. Even though I like Sauna and I like Top Dragon, obviously it felt like a weird combo right off the bat. Even if it did feel like they could coexist, this team needed some kind of star power at hitscan. Someone who's truly gifted at this position, and Xzodyal fits the bill based off of what we've seen so far in his career. He's such a young player, full of promise, and I like the idea of putting him in the hands of an experienced coach like Krusty. This is his chance to level up even more and prove that he really does belong. Not that he didn't really already show that to begin with. He can play at the level of other top hit scans. He's one of the best players in all of EU, but this just feels like another stepping stone that'll allow him to take another big step in his career. I absolutely love this pickup by Gen.G. I think this guy is ready for the spotlight, despite some of the concerns with inexperience. This is the type of guy that is motivated to improve and keep on getting better. He has that instinct. You could see it with his skill level. And I think adding him to a team like Gen.G is perfect. It really sucks for Peps because that was their carry. That was their best player. It's going to be a lot harder for them moving forward, but definitely the best for this guy's career for sure. And I am pumped to see him on Gen.G. I hope the Krusty crack pipe doesn't go too crazy and they let this guy do his thing and they play around him because he definitely can be a difference maker. We've seen Gen.G be competitive. They can compete with some of the top teams. We've seen it against Virtus Pro. They can do it even better with a guy like Xzodyal if all the pieces move in together correctly. I love this move a lot. Some of you may disagree with me here, but Xzodyal, we don't know what his ceiling is just yet as a player. I know it's crazy because we've already seen so many different highlights, a lot of people hype him up, a lot of people advocate for him already, but the fact is, he's still a very, very young player, he's still in school, and he's never had resources quite like this before, never had this level of coaching, this level of dedication to him, these types of teammates. This has the opportunity to be a major stepping stone in his career and a mutually beneficial move where he gets better, where his confidence goes up, and the team ends up looking a lot stronger on paper and more competitive. The question is going to be, will this be a needle mover for Gen.G? In my opinion, it definitely could, because I think this region is still very wide open. There's a lot of other things that Gen.G has to work on, but it's not exactly like EU is in this crazy situation that is absolutely dominated by one team. Despite what Virtus.pro has shown, I still believe they are very beatable. We've seen a lot of other top tier teams struggle, like with the Ultimates, who were supposed to be really good, but haven't always, and Twisted Minds as well. alexyOWL are definitely beatable. Gen.G with an upgrade like this absolutely could close the gap, hence why I'm really excited about it. I'm not going to sit here and guarantee they'll be like number 2 or number 1 in the region now, but I do think it increases their likelihood at the very least, and if you're a Gen.G fan, that's all you can really ask for. Some kind of hope, some kind of optimism, and Xzodyal definitely brings that to the table. Oh, and just one other quick thing, we now know the date of the Champions Clash LAN tournament in China. It'll be from April 18th through the 20th, so look out for that soon enough. But also, OWCS China is well underway, and by the end of next weekend, we will know the 2 teams that are representing this region. In all likelihood, it will be once again with all of your Hangzhou Spark favorites, and alongside that, some other Chinese legends from the Overwatch League days on Team CC most likely, with guys like Gaga, Kaneki, Farway 1987, and Pineapple. But we'll see what happens by the end of next weekend. We'll talk about that more as we get closer to the date of the LAN, but that's basically going to do it for me. Let me know what you think about all of this down in the comments section, and make sure to like the video as well, and subscribe to the channel for more OWCS and other OW esports news like this in the future. I've been ATP, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.